News 4 is always watching out for your health, and when it comes to diet and weight loss, there's a lot of information out there.
That's certainly true, and News 4's Alyssa Toomey sat down with a dietitian to talk about many issues, including weight loss ruts. And Alyssa, tell us what we can do to avoid this common problem.
Well, Marissa and Mo, right now, basically, it can be very difficult and very normal, honestly, for you to hit a weight loss plateau. Whether you are doing keto, whether you're doing intermittent fasting, or whether you're simply just kind of trying to reduce your calorie intake, it's quite likely that that is going to happen. So one piece of advice that the nutritionist told me that I found to be really helpful is to focus on the vitamins and minerals that foods have, as opposed to just looking at the calorie count. So, for example, here we have some Brussels sprouts. Now, these Brussels sprouts have vitamin A, vitamin C, and a lot of fiber, which we know is going to help keep you full longer. 1 cup of Brussels sprouts only has 38 calories. Then we have some Cheetos over here. Of course, they taste good, but they don't have any vitamins or minerals in them. 1 serving of Cheetos is just 21 pieces, and that has 160 calories. Now, another problem or a reason why you may be hitting a diet plateau is because you're cutting out certain food groups.
When you omit certain food groups, you have to realize that the minute you start to add them back in, your body is going to maybe gain weight. So the goal is really to, how do you balance it, right? I would never recommend omission of any food group.
Stacie says the best way to get over that plateau is to kind of shock your body with a new kind of diet or a new kind of exercise.
Okay, and Alyssa, we see this all the time. The keto diet is so popular right now.
Yeah.
You know, you'll see somebody that drops like 10 pounds in a week while doing keto. What's up with that?
Okay, so while we're all jealous of that person because we've definitely seen them walk into the office before, I actually learned some interesting information about that. So Stacie told me that when you start doing keto, basically if you go on a low carb diet, your body uses up all of its carbohydrate stores. So that is that 10 pounds of water weight that you were going to be dropping really quickly. The key is to find something that is sustainable from there. Stacie says, you know, it can be a great booster and it can be a great motivation, but you've got to find a way to keep going. So speaking of something that is sustainable, we're going to be talking about breakfast in our next hour. There are lots of mixed messages when it comes to breakfast right now. When should you eat it? What should you eat? And how much should you eat? That's all coming up at 6 a.m. Back to you guys.
All right, Alyssa, looking forward to that. You know, breakfast, a lot of people talking about fasting, so this should be interesting to learn a little bit more. Thank you, Alyssa.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Our News 4 is always watching out for your health. Are you doing breakfast right? Right now, I am live in the Great Day studio with Alyssa Toomey. And Alyssa, you are breaking down fact from fiction for us today.
Yeah, Marissa, this is a big debate. So big, in fact, that I recently learned that Dr. Oz and Mark Wahlberg got into a fight about this.
That's how you know it's for real.
I know, right? So, of course, I put these 2 little pictures together for you. There is Mark Wahlberg. Look at him. He looks amazing. And, of course, he works out every day. So he says breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Dr. Oz, on the other hand, is a fan of intermittent fasting. So who's right? The dietitian I spoke to says both.
When you think about our ancestors, they didn't have the chance to eat regularly because they didn't have the option, right? They didn't have access. So what I tell my patients is actually, if you feel hungry, you should eat. But I don't recommend eating if you're not hungry. I really don't. And that's kind of where that whole intermittent fasting part comes in.
So Stacie recommends giving yourself at least 12 hours between dinner and breakfast to fast. She doesn't recommend any sort of prolonged fasting, but she says that there actually is a lot of research out there that giving your body that time to fast, it helps regulate your insulin levels, your blood sugar levels, and it will help regulate your weight as well. Lots of benefits.
And so, I mean, like we've been talking about, there's so much information out there, a lot of it conflicting. You know, at some point we've heard like you should eat breakfast within 1 to 2 hours of waking up. What's the deal with that?
Yeah, and it's even confusing, especially if you have a morning schedule like we do. You never
Middle
really know.
of the night.
Yeah, exactly. You never really know how to manage it. But according to Stacie, no, you don't have to eat breakfast within 1 to 2 hours after waking up. She says that your body and your lifestyle are just going to be simply the best indicators of when you should eat. So if you're listening to your body and giving yourself that time to fast, that is what she recommends. Now, I had such a great chat with Stacie. You know that I love all of this diet diet and health stuff, and I learned so much from talking to her. So I wanted to put the entire conversation online for you guys. So for questions on keto, organic versus non-organic, GMO versus non-GMO, how much water you should drink, I asked her everything. We're going to get that up on KMOV.com for you guys.